Hello FPL managers and welcome back to FPL Wednesday Live by Fantasy Football Hub. We'll be talking you through the 3-6pm Premier League games live from an FPL perspective. I still think it's a Saturday afternoon. We will bring you all the goals, assists, bookings, injuries, dodgy VAR decisions and anything else live as it happens. But most importantly, what this means for FPL. We will also keep an eye on live bonus points, averages and stats courtesy of livefpl.net. My name is Andrew and I'm joined once again by one of the best FPL managers of all time. This guy have never finished outside the top 35k in 13 seasons of playing. He has 7 top 10k finishes, is well on his way to another one, and also has 2 top 500 finishes. It is the legendary Rich Clarke. Rich, we patiently wait for Aubameyang to bang tonight.
Absolutely, Andrew. Thanks, everybody, and welcome to the show. Looking forward to this game in particular from my personal team, Arsenal-Norwich. Got Aubameyang as captain tonight, so going to be a big night, hopefully. Sofa or either on it or behind it for many.
Absolutely. Good evening to John Tyner and to Crazy Dude on the chat. Great to have you on, guys. We also have a very special guest on this evening, a veteran player of FPL of 10 years, having a decent season, sat around the 50k rank. He also hosts the High, Wide and Handsome podcast and the Footstock Weekly podcast. A big welcome to John Nellis. John, it is great to have you on the show tonight.
Thanks so much for having me, lads. I really appreciate it. I was kind of hoping that first intro was for me, but unfortunately I don't quite have the plaudits. But yeah, I thought it was for me, but no, I'm happy. Sitting around 50k, so hopefully a few things go my way tonight and we can push a bit further up. But
who's your captain, John, or of interest?
So at 1:30 in the morning on, I think it was Friday night, I switched from Danny Ings to Jimenez. I also benched Alexander-Arnold and De Bruyne in a moment of madness. So Saka isn't playing, so De Bruyne will come on unless Saka gets some minutes. But the Ings to Jimenez one that's hurting me.
Yes, I bet. Okay, so please give us a wave or a hello in the live chat. Tell us where you're from, what you want from the 6pm games, and who your captain is for this week. Rich and I are both on Aubameyang. Sadly for John, his captain has already been unblanked. Also, any questions, comments, or anything else, please get them up for us to discuss. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel by clicking the red button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. At halftime, we'll bring you the bonus points so far and our halftime quiz. So I'm going to be chucking some trivia at Rich and John. Rich did very well last week. I had 8 out of 10 last week. We've got a different theme this week, so it'll be interesting to see how you guys get on. And we will also bring you the all-important team news from the West Ham versus Chelsea game at around 7:15. So on to the 6pm games, which are Arsenal v Norwich, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Leicester. Rich, could you give us the Arsenal versus Norwich team news, please?
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Andrew. So, Arsenal particularly from a fantasy perspective, Nketiah is on the bench tonight, as is Saka, both quite highly owned and very popular in recent free hits, wildcards and restart teams. Those are the 2 big changes you miss out. Aubameyang, as expected, after rest in the FA Cup, does come back. Lacazette keeps his place, so it's Lacazette and Aubameyang up front. There's a start for Reece Nelson as well, and that he hasn't been starting recently. So the full team for Arsenal is Martinez, Mustafi, David Luiz, Kolasinac, Bellerin, Ceballos keeps his place after scoring the winner at the weekend. Xhaka, Tierney at the back, Reece Nelson, Lacazette and Aubameyang. For Norwich, who may be very, very tired after 120 minutes against Man United, they have fielded a pretty strong side. So Cantwell and Pukki, popular fantasy assets, come back in. And the rest is pretty much as much of a team as they could get out. They're very, very light on central defenders at the moment. So the full Norwich lineup is Krull, Aarons, Godfrey, Tetty, Lewis, Tribal, Buendia, Rupp, McLean, Cantwell and Pukki. Notably, Dermich and Duda dropped to the bench. That's really the main fantasy impact of those 2 teams.
Not good for Nketiah, Saka and Pepe owners. I bet everyone thought they were going to get a start, weren't they? So
Pepe being out is another major miss, I think, because he's probably been retained on a lot of season restart unlimited transfer teams. So yeah, but never know. They might come on in the second half and reap the benefits.
Against a tiring Norwich defence.
To be very tired tonight after the first hour.
Okay.
Cheers.
And John, could you give us the lowdown on Everton versus Leicester?
Everton-Leicester, yeah. So there's not too many changes across the two teams. Everton line up. The only two real changes are Davies and Bernard are out for the young 19-year-old Gordon, and Sigurdsson, who we all know an FPL favourite of old, is coming in. So that Everton are lining up with Pickford, Coleman, Keane, Holgate, Lucas Digne, Iwobi, and then Anthony Gordon and Sigurdsson come in along with Gomez in the midfield, and then up top there Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Surprise, surprise. Yep. Leicester, just the one change for them, maybe a surprise to some, but he had a 10-point haul back in game week 29. Albrighton is coming in for Perez. Other than that, the team just exactly what you'd predict. Schmeichel in goal with Chilwell, Soyuncu, Evans and James Justin on the back four. Indeed, he just holding midfielder there, and then Barnes, Pratt, I don't even know how you say that one. Tielemans and Vardy, other than Albrighton in the lineup. So I think that's a particularly hard game to call. History would tell us Leicester have had the advantage in recent games again between these two, but Leicester had a game just a few days ago. I think Everton have had a rest of about a week. Maybe their legs will be a bit fresher. Who knows?
Yeah, No, I played Holgate tonight over Lascelles because I just felt that rest was meant, and their home game. The fact they've kept 2 clean sheets already. It was a tough call, but I actually went for the Everton guy over the Newcastle guy. So interesting to see how that turns out.
I'm sure that I saw that Maddison's on the bench. I think he had a knock to the hip, didn't he? So he
had a hip injury. I think it was all kind of silent on that front for a while. No one really knew. But, we all think of Madden as this creative maestro in midfield. And I was a huge, huge fan early season. And I still am a big fan. But he hasn't had an assist since something like game week 16. Yeah. And his only goal involvement, I think, was a few games after that, maybe game week 21. I think he got a goal versus Newcastle or something. But, he hasn't been as prolific as early season would have suggested.
I agree with that. Yeah. Okay, hello in the chat. Hello to Mithun. He's been blown out by having both Saka and Nketiah. I wouldn't. I think they will come on for the final 20 or 30, and I think they will. I don't want to say run riot in terms of score loads of goals, but they are very, very quick players against what will be a very tired defence. So I wouldn't be too disheartened there, Mithun. John Tyner captained Jimenez, 34 points so far. Unlucky with Jimenez. Diraj Pandev, all the way from India. Hello there, Diraj. Adli Adel says, what do we think about Vardy? Rich, what are your thoughts on Vardy at the moment? He seems to have gone off the boil.
Well, I think he's streaky and he could get into a streak of form. At the moment, I just think there's so many options and choices up front that he's lower down the pecking order to buy or hold. Yeah. I think you've got to get into the likes of United and City in the coming weeks. Jimenez is obviously a very consistent performer. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a very nice finish to the season. Greenwood's now coming to the forefront. There's so many options that Vardy is not a priority for me. I'm not looking at him. No. That would be my view.
Okay. Crazy Dude had Bruno Fernandes as captain. Congratulations. A nice, was that a 30-pointer, was it? Or maybe even more than that. Well done there. Adley's captain was Rashford. Very unlucky yesterday. I thought he played quite kind of out on the left yesterday. He wasn't, very involved. Bilal Quarashi on 57 points after a Fernandes cap. Well done. John Tyne is from Ireland. Welcome back, John. Joins us every week. Top man. And Crazy Dude 55 with 5 left. Well played. So finally, we've got the Bournemouth versus Newcastle game. Not the most exciting of games potentially. News from Bournemouth is that Callum Wilson is serving a 2-game ban. Their team, they've got Ramsdale in goals. They've got Adam Smith, Steve Cook, Ake, who has been linked with Man City this week. That would be a very interesting acquisition if that happened. And Kelly at the back. David Brooks back. Billing in the centre with Lerma. Dan Juma, who looks a very interesting player if he can get a run of games. And then they've got Josh King and Dominic Solanke up front. On their bench, they've got Boric, Gosling, Lewis Cook, Jack Stacey, Stanislas, Rico and Harry Wilson. For Newcastle, their team reads Dubravka in goals. They then got Kraft at the back, Fernandez, Lascelles in the centre with Manquillo, Sean Longstaff, Shelvey, Bentaleb. Dwight Gale gets a start. How he missed that chance against Man City on the weekend in the FA Cup. That was a dream chance. Joe Linton and Sir Maximin. So an actually very attacking team there from Newcastle. Substitutes: Shah, Carroll, Matt Ritchie. Surprised he's on the bench. Maybe he's not fit after knocking out Hayden, Yedlin, Lazaro, and Almiron. So they have got options on the bench. Almiron looks like he is being rested. So the games have kicked off. They've just kicked off. We're a minute in. No games. No goals as yet. Just to run through a few stats then. So some captaincy stats first. So this is for overall players. John, can you guess who was the highest owned captain in FPL this week?
Oh no!
Quite surprising, I would say. Yeah, sorry,
Martial or Rashford or something.
No, it was Rich. Want to guess?
I'd probably guess that Jimenez is a safe bet.
It's actually Mohamed Salah at 16%.
Was it?
Probably. Well, this probably includes all the dead teams.
That's come from all the dead.
It comes from all the dead teams, exactly. So it's 16% owned. Second is Aubameyang, which obviously includes Rich and I at 12% owned. De Bruyne at 9.79. Mane in at 6.72. Jimenez, who has already disappointed his owners, at 6.65. Aguero, a lot of dead teams. Vardy, and then Rashford and Sterling. In terms of ownership, the highest owned player in terms of effective ownership this week is Kevin De Bruyne at 63%, which is nice to see. The effective ownership is quite low across the game. Salah at 54%, Jimenez at 46%, Alexander-Arnold at 46%, Van Dijk at 44%, which is quite high, I think, actually. Aubameyang then at 38%. One observation I kind of made this week on the FPL podcast, which I thought was quite interesting. It's not very often where you captain a player like Aubameyang this week, and he will be barely owned outside of the people who have captained him. Like normally, say you've got like a toss up between Salah and De Bruyne. Generally, everyone kind of owns them both, don't they? And you go for one or the other.
Yeah.
But this week, if Aubameyang does bang, gets a couple of goals, it's basically 26-0.
It's almost like having a free triple captainship. I look at it like that. Really.
That's a good way of looking at it, Rich.
Coming from Vardy just had a lovely chance there, by the way.
Oh, really?
A lovely wee ball through. I can't actually quite see who from unless I hold my phone up. I think it might have been Tielemans played a lovely wee ball through to him. Just took a bad heavy touch and Digne got in the way and then Pickford gathered it. But like, if he'd have took a good first touch there, he could have been in.
Oh wow! So some promising early signs for Leicester against Everton. Everton, who've been, how do you think Everton will fare next season? I think they've obviously improved under Ancelotti. Do we think next season they're going to be kind of genuine top 16? John, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on how they do in the transfer window. It's going to be a very strange transfer window with COVID around. Prices can be a bit weird. Contracts are a bit of an issue. They have a lot of decent young players there, but maybe they just don't have maybe the class or the experience required. Yeah. Richarlison, there's been links all over the place. Calvert-Lewin, young and English, you wouldn't be surprised to see him go to one of the kind of classic top 4, top 6 teams. But, I couldn't see Calvert-Lewin moving, to be honest with you. I just think around that kind of midfield area, they just lack it. Sigurdsson, if you look at that team sheet, the only player that really jumps out at me is Sigurdsson. I mean, Gomez, great, yeah, Bernard, whatever. Davies, okay, Iwobi, yeah. Sigurdsson, and even he has been off the board the last season or two. Anthony Gordon, the youngster, is very exciting, and Ancelotti's a big fan. Yeah. So, I don't know. There's been a goal. Apologies for the interruption, John.
But there's been a goal for Newcastle. So we will wait to see who has got that now when it comes through. This happened a couple of times last week, and they were VAR'd out. But at the moment, Newcastle have scored a goal. Just while we're waiting for that, Question off D-Raj for you, Rich. Would you lads recommend selling Rashford for a United defender? What are your thoughts on that, Rich? Ahead of being home to Bournemouth on the weekend.
I think there's a danger of people knee jerking from one United player to the other at the minute. I think that it's obvious they're playing well, and that the goals are going to get shared around. So last week everyone was dumping Bruno for Martial, and last night he scored 2 goals. And Rashford didn't get anything last night, but I think Rashford is a sound pick. I also think he's a young pick, but I'd probably look to get one in a different way other than selling Rashford. I think Rashford's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably get him myself for Aubameyang. That'll probably be my transfer at the weekend if I don't wildcard.
What are your thoughts on the Hokey and John of United players?
The hokey-cokeying of United players?
In terms of moving out Rashford for someone else. Yeah, the kind of the flavour of the month.
I think United are showing such form at the minute. They're looking like United of old. I think it's a very exciting time for United fans. I mean, having Pogba and Fernandes both, showing each other a lot of respect and they look like friends almost in the pitch, and they're passing the ball and they're all buddy, and seeing them two firing all cylinders. And you've got Martial, Greenwood and Rashford up top. Very exciting. I think anyone could get a brace on any given day. And I think just have a bit of conviction in what you do. If you get someone in for a week, don't be wasting transfers, chopping and changing. Do the research, look at the stats, pick one you want to go with, look at the price point, look at what you can afford. And I would just base off that. Like, I have Rashford and Fernandes, albeit Rashford did nothing. Maybe if it Greenwood instead, but I mean, you can't prepare for everything.
No, you go and buy Greenwood, and Rashford will get a brace.
Exactly.
Just confirm. It looks like Dwight Gale got the goal for
Gale,
Newcastle. Yeah.
And it's St. Maximan with the assist. Apparently, you were saying, John, you're quite interested in him, weren't you?
Yeah, I stuck him on the pitch instead of De Bruyne this week. Now De Bruyne will come on for Saka unless Saka gets minutes for me, but. Yeah, that could have been an inspired decision at 1:30 in the morning on Friday night.
Interesting start. So Bournemouth look in trouble actually, don't they? They've actually been quite sound defensively, both in their games and statistically as well. But that is not a good start for them. Newcastle could be an interesting one next season because if they do get bought up, it'll be very interesting to see what kind of happens with their team, because they would have the richest chairman in football, or definitely the Premier League, I hear. So that will be interesting.
Is they even wealthier than the City owners? Are they?
I believe he is. Yeah, I believe they are. Oh. They are the richest. So we've had a question from sorry, it's not a question. James Harding comments he played Saka over Richarlison. Hope Richarlison scores, but only if Saka does not play. I just can't see Saka not playing. I think these youngsters will get a run out at the end. No goals yet. Was hoping for an Aubameyang goal already just to settle the nerves, but nothing yet. Still massive favourites. Comment from Kian Cronin. Glad Lascelles wasn't the one who scored. I think in terms of Rashford, D-Raj, I think if you're taking Rashford out at home to Bournemouth, I don't think that's the right way to play.
You'd only take him out if he was injured. That's the only reason you'd take him out.
Exactly. He is. He could very, very easily score a couple of goals. And if Bruno's off the pitch as well, he came off yesterday for the last half an hour. It means Rashford's on penalties as well. He did play to the left, I thought, yesterday, but Brighton are a tricky team to play against. Statistically, they only conceded one big chance last night, Brighton, even though it looked like United were all over. We think of the kind of goals they scored, Bruno's goal and the goal from Greenwood.
Goal, apparently. Sorry. I just got a massive cheer in my headphones because I got Bet365 open.
Oh, there you go.
Now I'm watching it behind time. It looks like Gordon and Digne are over the freak. Digne swings one in. What's going to happen, guys?
We've just heard Richarlison scored in the chat, apparently, according to D-Raj. Don't know if that's right.
Well, thanks for that. God, that was the whole point of this, wasn't it? That I'm ahead of him. Bloody D-Raj.
Hang on. Like you might be wrong. You might be wrong.
No, it is Richarlison. I'll try and work out who got the assist here. D-Raj might tell us, but this is like miles behind Sky Go.
Oh yes, it's going to be. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So a Richarlison goal for his owners. He's what a signing, what a player he's been. D-Rice says Digne assist. This is the problem, with doing it live when you watch it on the screen.
I don't know. It says on Forza. It says Anthony Gordon got the assist.
Oh right, okay then.
I will tell you now. I'm just about to watch the replay, but I'd say James Harden's kicking himself. James Harden there has Saka on over at Richarlison. He's praying Saka doesn't come on for a cameo at the end, isn't he?
Absolutely, he is. Yeah. Just while we're waiting for that as well, question from John Tyner: would you sell Jota or Nketiah or Ings? Rich, what's your thought on that? Selling?
I'd sell Jota for Ings, but based on tonight, I think Nketiah is, obviously not sure to start all the games. So actually, I'd probably, out of those two, I'd go for Ings. I mean, Ings got some tough fixtures the next 2 or 3. So he's not necessarily going to keep his form up, but he does look fit, and he is going to play every game. Hassan has already said that. So that's and Aubameyang just went very close. Good save from Kroll. But I'd sell it. I don't fancy Jota. He gets pulled off after 60, 70 minutes every week. There are probably better Wolves options, and I'd sell him for Ings, but not the other one.
Anthony Gordon was the guy with the assist, by the way.
Gordon.
On his bad foot, I believe. I think he's a right-footed player. He was cutting up the left-hand side of the pitch, got to the byline, pulled it back for Richarlison, who also put it in with his left peg. Keeper got a touch, but no chance.
He looks a very useful player, that Anthony Gordon, I think, doesn't he? We were just talking about Everton there. They seem to have a really good mix of very experienced players. And youngs as well. I think Everton can have a good season next season. I think they can, have a real go for the top 6 if they can keep Richarlison fit, Digne fit, Calvert-Lewin fit, and players like this. I think they can have a really good season. I think in Pickford, I know he takes a lot of stick, but as well, I think he's a top class keeper as well. Holgate, is looking really, really, really good. I think that Coleman's playing tonight, but Sidibe earlier on, he's rapid as well, right? I think they got a really good team. Dero says Leicester looking so dull without Maddison. Can't seem to have much of ball possession either. Leicester, they're a funny team. Who would have thought in January, when Leicester were absolutely flying, that we would be saying that Leicester have just lost all their kind of spark when they beat Southampton? Was it 9-0 or whatever it was?
I remember Chilwell got like 19 points that week or something ridiculous.
He did.
I've just seen a comment there that I missed anyway from Cian Cronin.
Yeah.
Glad Lascelles was the one who scored, so am I. He's third in my bench, but you might know this. Cian Cronin actually won in Ireland last year. If it's the right Cian Cronin, he was number 1 in Ireland. I think he was 27th or 29th or something overall ranked last year. So decent players in the audience.
Cian,
no pressure.
All right. Okay,
if that is you, let us know, Cian, because that'll be interesting. Just to update everyone on the FPL average then. So the FPL average is 35.73 points in the top 10k. That is high. Only 19 overall, but as we say, that is the overall game. John, how's your game week looking so far in terms of points so far this week?
Never mind my game week. There could be a penalty here very quickly for Everton. VAR looking for a handball potentially from Michael Keane. Really? 2 of them jumped up for the header. I think it might be Iwobi challenging. No, it's not Iwobi. Is it Ndidi? Sorry, Ndidi and Michael Keane, maybe. Can't really tell, but I'll let you know about that when it comes through on my phone. People in the audience will probably get it just before me. But in terms of my game week, I'm currently sitting on 60 points.
60 points? And you captain Jimenez? Flipping it.
Yeah, Captain Jimenez, Danny Ings, who was my captain, Fernandes, St. Maximin, Rashford. Saka hasn't played, hoping he doesn't unless he does something. But I doubled up on Wolves defenders, Doherty and Saiss, both got me 6 points. So, I've got Fernandes and St. Maximin in action tonight. So let's just hope.
You've done very well to start with.
That is a hell of a game week. You'd be above 50k if that continues.
Yeah, you'll be shooting out there with 60 points.
Exactly.
I know. You always get greedy, don't you? You always think if I'd have kept Ings captain, whatever. Yeah. God knows where I would have been a bit on for my best finish ever. But no, I'm happy so far with the game week. I really am. they're hemming and hand over this VAR.
They still are. Yeah, we just had an update off D-Reg. Thanks for that. A possible handball for Ndidi. Paul Jones in the chat, fellow Fantasy Football Hub member, just logged on. Great to see John on the hub. Love his footstock stuff. There you are, John. You have fantasy. Oh, hang on, we might have a penalty awarded by the look of it.
Yeah.
D-Raj is watching it in mega quick time. He's giving us all the updates, D-Raj. Thank you for that. Penalty awarded. So
I think D-Raj is in the stadium, is he?
I think he is, yeah.
Under the 300.
He's going to tell me who scores it first, isn't he?
Go
away, D-Raj.
Schmeichel saved a penalty last week, didn't he? So it'll be interesting to see if he can do the same now.
Who's going to take it, John?
It's 2-0. I can just see that it's 2-0. I haven't seen who's taken the penalty though. Gylfi has scored.
Gylfi Sigurdsson has scored, yeah.
Well, if I'm ever on again, I know I need to come up with a way of working out. What are you on, D-Rise? Let us know. Are you watching this live on television or something? I've only, literally a minute behind D-Rise. I've just got a flash score notification. They're normally pretty quick. So, yeah, good man yourself.
Thank you, D-Raj. Sorry, just to comment off Paul. Great to see John on the hub. Love his footstock stuff. There you are, John.
Thanks, Paul.
You have a fan. I know he watches. He's really interested in footstock. We all kind of joined at the same time a couple of months ago, so we're still all learning the ropes on footstock. But John is the man. If anyone's got any questions on footstock or Football Index, John is the man. So just let us know that.
Yeah, hit me up.
So 2-0 to Everton. A good news that was. So we've had 3 goals in 16 minutes and still nothing for Arsenal, Rich. Nothing for Aubameyang, even though you said he has gone close.
There's not much to report on the Arsenal game. It's quite open. They're quite up and down. As I say, Aubameyang had the best chance. Good shot from the left-hand side of the box. Bought a good save out of Kroll. But he's a good keeper, Kroll.
Yeah,
he does make a lot of saves. It's difficult to get the ball past. I mean, United could have won about 8-0 at the weekend, and he kept him out into extra time. So, yeah, he's difficult to beat. It's going to take a good shot to beat him. But, yeah, I think there will be goals in this game because it's quite open, but not really many clear-cut chances yet.
I'm a Spurs fan. I remember a few years ago when Kroll was at Newcastle and Spurs were in really, really good form, and they just needed to beat Newcastle to jump from 5th to 3rd or something like that. And Kroll made the record number of saves in a game against Spurs. It was something like 13 saves or something ridiculous like that. He is a really good keeper. So just an update. Are you going? No, you go.
Sorry, I was
you go.
For what it's worth, the penalty was really coolly taken by Sigurdsson, just straight down the middle, flat, on the ground, just as cool as you like. Vintage Gylfi Sigurdsson. We haven't seen it in a while. I know it's a penalty, you'd expect him to score it, but just the class that he used.
Yeah.
Just thought it kind of.
Was there any assist for the penalty, John? Did anyone get fouled or anything? Well,
it was a handball by Ndidi, so I would be very surprised if there shouldn't be an assist. I'd be surprised.
Just a few stats then. Top transfers in this week. Martial has been transferred in so far ahead of Gameweek 33 plus by 55,000 managers. I would guess that the majority of those are probably prior to yesterday's game. Bruno Fernandes, who looks, hate to use the word essential, but Bruno Fernandes just looks different gravy in every aspect. And I really, I know that everyone talks about it, but it's very rare that you see a person of his class. He goes forward all the time. That's something which really, used to frustrate me about watching Man United. They'd get so far forward, to kind of edge of the box or wherever, and then they slowly start to pass it back, and before you know it, it's right back. It's right back at the halfway line. Whereas Fernandes is always looking for that forward pass, isn't he? So, what a player he is. Danny Ings has been brought in by 52,000 managers. So even though his next 3 games are quite tough, he has got Man City, then Everton, then Man United. He finishes off with Brighton, Bournemouth, and Sheffield United. But the form he's in, and the comments from the manager, who has said that he is going to let him go start every game to chase the golden boot. He's looking a good one to have in. Rashford has been brought in by 42,000 managers, and Greenwood, probably off the back of last night, 4.3 or 4.4 million, been brought in by 39,000 managers. Rich, what's your thoughts on Greenwood as an option?
Obviously, he had probably his best game for United last night, and the way he took his goal with the oversteps or whatever and put it away was classy. I just worry that with only 4 weeks and 5 games to go, whether he'll start all those games.
Yeah.
I think he'll maybe only start 2 or 3 games out of the last 6, and I think now, with the amount of rotation we've all got to expect, you've got to be targeting, clear starters when you make a transfer. The transfers are so valuable now that you don't want to transfer someone in that you think might not start. I think that would be a silly thing to do, particularly if you haven't got any chips left. So that's my view.
Yeah.
I've got a very interesting one, actually, and I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, so sorry if I'm interrupting, but in terms of my transfers for next week, I don't even know how this happened, guys. I really don't. But I've got 3.7 million in the bank and 2 free transfers. It just kind of happened because a wild carded out of, into the new sort of set of fixtures. Or no, I didn't wild card. Sorry, I used all the free transfers like a wild card, then wild carded out of that. Wasn't it Gameweek 31? And yeah, I've got 3.7 million there somehow. So I'm going to have to go on a bit of a splurge this week.
Wow.
And I'm kind of excited for that. I'll just wait and see how these fixtures pan out
tonight. Yeah, can you maybe? I mean, one differential you might want to look at if you haven't already got him in is take a punt for a week on Gabriel Jesus and upgrade a forward and bring him in. He's so low owned that he could haul in one of the City games particularly if he doesn't play 90 minutes tomorrow. He could really haul, and if you get him in as a differential, you might be ahead of the field there. I'm definitely looking at Jesus and to make that kind of change, really. Norwich just went very close with an attempt. Good save from Martinez.
I think it was Soyuncu just emptied. Someone from Everton was through on goal. It looked like maybe Richarlison. My phone's sitting quite a bit away from me, but he just shoulder on shoulder challenge, emptied him. I'm about to see it a bit closer now. It was Calvert-Lewin through. Soyuncu came in. Calvert-Lewin threw himself into Soyuncu and went down like a sack of shite. DCL just grow a set, son. Soyuncu not pleased at all, but play goes on.
I saw
it was Ben Godfrey who hit the post for it, just shaved the post the attempt for Norwich. So good game.
Godfrey, footstock roulette legend. Just looking at City's fixtures, this has been a topic of conversation in the last week. Is who do we get from City because their fixtures? They've got Southampton next in 33. They've then got Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth, Watford, and Norwich. We know there's going to be rotation, but we also know that with the 5 subs, that everyone will get a game at some point. Rich, you fancy Jesus? Who else? Who would be your other two picks?
Great question. I if I do wildcard next week, which is definitely an option, I would probably look at Mahrez, bringing Mahrez in alongside KDB. He's a good price. He's liable to play most of the remaining games, particularly with Sane being sold and almost being sold and so on. I think he's going to see 4 out of 5 games for City, possibly on pens when De Bruyne isn't playing. Great value. So Mahrez would be one, and Jesus would be the other for me. But obviously, as I said earlier, a lot of competition in that forward 3 for the choices. If you're going for Jesus, you won't be getting Rashford, for instance. So difficult choices. I think at the moment it's either going to be Martial and Jesus or Rashford and Mahrez. That combination will be 1 or 2 I'd bring in.
And how about you, John? Who would be your Man City 3?
To pick 3, well, I think you can't look past KDB. Mahrez is probably my standard option midfield. Just like you, Rich, I think he's just outstanding. Pep has shown a lot of faith in him. Every time he plays, you expect him to do well. Jesus obviously is that differential, but it's how do you fit them all in? I think what you're saying there, that kind of United struggle there, if you have Jesus on, you don't have Rashford. Thankfully, with United, we're kind of spoiled with options at the minute. So if you have the transfers or the wild card or the chips or whatever, you might be able to somehow get rid of Rashford, bring in Martial to fill up a midfielder slot, and then stick Jesus up top. But equally, you might want to keep Rashford It's a headache. It really is a headache with the amount of premium options at the minute with decent fixtures in the running. And it's something I think is the reason why I have 3.7 in the bank. It's almost sort of indecision.
Agree. And Notorious Nerd actually in the chat. So I'm looking at Foden, and he's actually in my team. And the reason I've got him is because all these kind of players we're talking about that we want, the Rashfords, De Bruyne's, Mahrez, Fernandes. We've been talking about Doherty and Trent. All these players, we just can't have all of them, right? And I personally think that Foden, I think he'll get a lot of minutes. So just to answer the question, I think that I think Foden will get a lot of minutes. And I've also noticed with Foden, even when he comes on late, he tends to do well as well. He's looking really, really good. And I think next season he's going to be in the team on merit and not just giving him a run out. So question from Notorious Nerd, and Diraj has commented as well. Is Digne a good pick, or would Holgate be more value? Well, do I think that's Digne's second assist in the last 2 or 3 games? John, what are your thoughts on Digne?
Yeah, so if we look at him, he had an assist against Norwich last week, I believe, Gameweek 31 plus, and he didn't. Did he get the assist tonight? I don't think.
Yes, he did. He got it in the end for the penalty.
Did he?
So
he
must have crossed it in for the handball. Yeah,
the handball. Very good. Well, that's 2 assists. I mean, 5.7 million for him. Holgate's a 4.3. What are their fixtures like coming into the end of the season? So they've got Spurs and Southampton, Wolves, Villa. How many?
Yeah, they get better after next week, don't they? Everton they have a nice run in their games.
They do, from 34. Southampton, Wolves, obviously that's the hard one. Then they got Villa, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth. With Southampton, Villa, and Bournemouth all at home as well. So I'm going to be looking. So I've got Holgate, but I'm going to be looking to get an attacker in. I'm looking at Calvert-Lewin, I think. But Digne, I think, is a really good option. I think if you haven't got, I think if I didn't have Holgate, I go for Digne, because I also think that Holgate has got the competition, for his play, whereas Digne hasn't. So yeah.
I think, as you were saying, Everton might be able to challenge next season if they can keep everyone fit. Definitely. I think there's some players that are just going to struggle to keep. I could see Digne heading off to Europe somewhere, or to a better club in the Premiership. He's just such a great crosser of the ball, and as we've seen, attacking wing backs that can cross a ball are like gold dust these days. You've seen what Trent can do, and I think that could be their downfall almost. Everton, they've just got so many players there that people want.
Yeah, no, it's fair. Question again from D-Raj. Spurs assets must have or can do without. So I'm a Spurs fan, and last week was the first time I've watched Spurs, and I got a little bit excited, to gotta be honest. I haven't seen Kane make runs like that for a couple of seasons now, ever since they were back at White Hart Lane. So I think, so if you look at Spurs fixtures, they have got Everton on Monday night, I believe, for the next game, which I think will be quite tough. But after that, Bournemouth, Arsenal at home. You'd expect a good game, but you'd expect some goals. Newcastle, Leicester, and Palace. I'm not overly enamoured with them. I think that Kane and Son are probably quite expensive. I think Ori at 5.3 is probably a really good option, even though the manager was talking today about how he's going to give him a rest. He's got no competition. Rich, what are your thoughts on Spurs?
Well, I haven't got any of their players at the moment. Obviously, keeping an eye on Kane. If he starts to look like he's exploding into form, he'd be an easy trade from Aubameyang next week. It might be worth it for a week. I'm just not convinced that Spurs are going to, get enough wins between now and the end of the season. I think they'll do okay, but I just don't think they're going to win 4 or 5 games. I think they might win a couple of games and a couple of draws and a couple of defeats. I just think Jose hasn't gotten really playing the way that he wants to. So I'd rather buy players from a team like Man United who are going to win a lot of games, or Wolves who keep a lot of clean sheets, that kind of thing. So I have Aurier looks a sound pick at 5 million. If you want a third attacking defender, he's probably the best pick. I think Son is, again, a little bit too expensive because there's so much choice around the 7-8 million mark in the midfield. That 9.7 or whatever he is, I think he's just a bit pricey. He'll score 2 goals, 3 goals for the end of the season, but you want someone who's going to score 5 or 6 for that money. So no, I'm probably not looking at Spurs right now, apart from maybe Aurier on a World Cup.
Apologies for interrupting. There's been a goal at Bournemouth, but it is for Newcastle. Looks like a second goal for Newcastle.
Come on, Lascelles.
Come on,
St. Maximin.
We will wait to see what has happened there, but definitely looks like Newcastle have scored a second goal for 2-0. No doubt, D-Raj will be in the chat any second.
Vintage D-Raj.
Mac is on Nketiah captain. Do you know what, Mac? I nearly did the same thing. I think you've been incredibly unfortunate there.
Sean Longstaff for the goal.
Sean Longstaff. He's that's not the one that might be off to Italy, is it? That's his brother. That's
Matty lost to them, isn't it?
That's just a strange link, that isn't it? On link. Longstaff goal. Thank you, Paul. Auber already on tier 1 shots for Sky. If you've got him, Andrew. Yes, I captained him in Sky. So on Sky you get points for shots on target. So that's a good.
He's had a couple of shots. Yeah, David Luiz just had a go from about 35 yards out, and easy save for Kroll. But yeah, this one didn't balloon over the bar. It wasn't a bad effort, but right in the middle of the goal, easy save.
So we will wait for the assist for the Newcastle goal. But Newcastle looking good. Just have a quick look at their fixtures for the rest of the season. They seem to have turned the corner. They're home to West Ham next, the next game week. They then got Man City, then they've got Watford, then they've got Spurs, then they've got Brighton, but then they've got Liverpool. So they're a little bit up and down. You'd imagine they'd be okay that way. Looks like Sam Maximam assist again, John. So
John, you're rocketing up the league.
He looked a player.
Vaulting myself into FPL folklore. I mean, if anyone wants me for podcasts or anything,
that's right. Yeah,
I'll let you know how it's done.
I tell you what, that Sam Maximam looks. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. He looks a player. You know when you see a player is just a bit quicker than everyone else on the pitch. He's just got a yard on everyone else. And I don't just mean in terms of pure pace running. I mean in terms of vision, but also the way he gets away from people. I've noticed that even when even when they're losing, even when they lost to Man City on the weekend, the one player who looked like he could do something was that Sam Maximam. I think he's going to be a serious player.
Well, you see, I think the thing with him is, right, everyone, and I know he has got some plaudits this season, he has, but Adama, everyone's just enamored with him. They all love him and they're all talking about him, and Adama. They're the two best dribblers in the league. I think Zaha's maybe a close third in behind, but you would like the amount of times they go past people in a match would scare you. Now, if only that was scored for on FPL, but it's good to see that they both have the end product. Maybe Adama's been questioned to that more than St. Maximin before. He used to play over in France, but he's just leaps and bounds above everyone else in that Newcastle team, in my opinion. And, anytime you watch him, he catches the eye. And I'm just happy.
Goal for Arsenal. Arsenal. For Arsenal. Come on, please be the man. Please be the man.
Lacazette.
No, we want Aubameyang. There's definitely been a goal for Arsenal.
Come up on my screen yet.
We'll wait for all the streams to catch up. But
it's Aubameyang.
Is it Aubameyang?
Is it?
Is it Aubameyang? Aubameyang captain. Come on. There it is.
I still haven't seen it yet. I don't know how far behind
still
I am.
Haven't caught up. Goal.
I haven't seen it. It's on a 60-inch screen ahead of me, but it still hasn't got to it yet. It doesn't matter how big the screen is.
60 minutes behind, but at least we know it's Aubameyang. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Matthew, Gentry, thank you, Paul, thank you, D-Raj. Auber goal, 2 captains.
Oh, it's a terrible mistake by Kroll.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Gets the ball back, tries to dribble it out, fumbles it, slips, and Aubameyang just picks up the piece and taps it in.
That happened to Arsenal against...
awful defending, but great for me and you, Andrew. So top that is. That's brilliant.
Arsenal had a little bit of luck about that because Nketiah had a goal like that a week or so ago, didn't he? So
it's dreadful goalkeeping. Really, real shame. It's off a back pass actually that he makes a complete mess of it. Yeah, just showing the replay now. Yeah, he tries to play it out, and Aubameyang sticks a foot out, tackles him, and knocks it in the back of the net. No problem at all.
So no assist then.
No assist.
No assist. Okay, so Arsenal 1, Norwich 0. Aubameyang. We've then got Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 2. Newcastle looking good. Bournemouth looking not good whatsoever. And we've got Everton 2, Leicester 0 with around 35 minutes gone. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to everyone who's watching and listening in. Really, really good stuff. We do this every Wednesday. we did it at the start of the year for on Saturdays at 3:00. So that kind of time warp gap between all the podcasts, all the streams, all everything, and between 3 and 5 o'clock there was nothing happening whatsoever. We came on there, and we will continue to do it whenever there are 3-0 matches on. So please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you set alerts. We'll be doing it into the new season. Saturday afternoon, 3:00. We'll be here talking you through it. Rich and I once sat through a Saturday afternoon where I think there was 5 games, and the first goal wasn't scored till about 40 minutes. And I think there was 3 goals in 5 games, and we had to.
It was a fairly difficult afternoon to keep going through, wasn't it? So we have at least had we've had 5 goals already in the first half an hour, so that's not bad going into 3 games, is it? Good
stuff. That should. I would imagine that would bump the average up as well. So the average is now in the top 10k, 38.78. Average overall 23.34. I cannot wait to have a look at my team. Let us know in the chat if you've got a Aubameyang captain. Sorry, we're a bit excited here, but it's not very often you get a captain hit on this show. So.
It's looking good now with an hour to go, and Alba obviously liable, hopefully going to get another one as Norwich get tired. This is going to be a big swing if you have got him as your captain. Big swing.
Absolutely. Just look at the top scoring players of the week briefly. So Bruno Fernandes, 15-pointer. He has 83% effective ownership. You haven't got Bruno, you're going to struggle. He's like 8.8 million now. I know it's not good to jump on players with high ownership if you're chasing, but the way that Bruno is playing, he just looks absolutely unstoppable. And how much do you think Bruno is going to be next year? Please let us know in the chat how much you think Bruno is going to be next year. John, what do you think?
Has to be 10 million plus, doesn't it? Is that conservative?
Yeah, I'd say 10-5, something like that. Maybe him and De Bruyne are quite similar players. De Bruyne was undervalued this year at 9.5. He'll be at least, I would say, 11 next year. You might put Bruno 0.5 below him. I don't know, it's a guess.
If Bruno's not 10 million plus, it'd be ridiculous not to have him. If he's 10 million plus, there's a bit of consideration needs to happen, and I think that's kind of what price point should be about.
Exactly. It kind of spoils the game then as well, don't it? Because everyone will have him. But it's going to be really, really interesting, because if you think of game week 1 now next season, regardless of fixtures, right? So we've already... Arsenal have scored again.
No.
Arsenal have scored again. This could be a good first half, Rich, or not. We'll go and get the answers.
I'm about 40 seconds behind.
We'll go and get the answers now in the chat. We're all hoping, Rich and I are hoping for Aubameyang, but it is 2-0. If anyone knows on the chat, let us know. We get the goal alerts early, just not the goals.
So, that's the thing, isn't it?
No, it is.
I think it's an Alba assist.
Oh, it looks like Granit Xhaka.
I think it might be an Alba assist though. Someone's tweeted that on the hub chat. Sports Stat Rich. I'm sure you know Sports Stat Rich, John, don't you?
I do. Good friend of the
He's something to do with your business.
Really good guy and a really good writer. So he's been writing footstock stuff for the hub as well.
Yeah, he's just tweeted Alba assist. I still haven't seen it yet, but
so it's looking like Xhaka goal, and people are saying Alba assist. So decent.
Guys, you're on for a screamer of a week, aren't you?
Decent start for Alba captain as well. Well, he's made it up already.
Yeah, it's a nice finish by Xhaka. Yeah, I've just seen it. Yeah, a bit blurred, but Alba puts it in from just at a narrow angle outside the penalty area, squared it into the 6-yard box, and a nice finish from Xhaka.
Okay, so we had some guesses on how much we think it would be in the chat. Aman24, 10.5. FPL Maestro, 10 million. Diraj, easily 10.5 million, going to give KDB good competition. I think it's interesting because just for that goal went in, think of all the players, right, of who are going to be borderline essential going into game week 1 next season, right? I think if you look at the back, so you've got Alexander-Arnold, we've got people like Doherty. I think Ricardo Pereira, when he's back, is a really, really good option as well. Man United defenders now, right? So they're going to turn now. I'm sure I've seen in all competitions they've kept 10 clean sheets in the last 14 or something like that. So you've got like Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, etc. You've into midfield then, right? So you've got Bruno Fernandes, and KDB, who look like they're going to be essential. You've also got Salah and or Mane in there as well, and this is without talking about players like Ziyech is coming in, in for Chelsea. You'd imagine he would be, I don't know, 8 to 9 million potentially. Heung-min Son, Mahrez, any other. And then you move up front as well, and you think of Werner. Jimenez is gonna have an increase, right? So he's gonna be, he's gonna be probably, I'd guess, maybe 9.5 or 10. It's going to be so interesting how we're going to fit all these in, and the real key is probably to find those enablers, I would guess. Looking forward to next season, John, who are your top 3 players who you will absolutely not be without?
I think 3 is almost like, I think there's more than 3 for everyone that they must have. I think for me going into this season, KDB was my guy.
Yeah.
And I think next season it would be hard to look past them again. Now, obviously, prices are a big factor. If there was if he was 12 million or something, you'd be like, jeez.
Yeah.
But KDB, I can't look past. Trent Alexander-Arnold at the back, I find it hard to look past. I don't think there's anyone in the league, and I know he's premium, but I don't think there's a player in the league in defender spot that has anywhere near the same attacking output or anywhere near the same clean sheet potential, other than teammates, obviously, on that front. But yeah, if you're looking at the back, Trent would have to be there for me. In the midfield, probably Kevin De Bruyne. Up top, I don't know. Depending on Werner's price, he could be a cracking differential. Well, he mightn't even be a differential. We'll all see how pricing goes and how pre-season goes. But, I don't know how much German football you guys watch, but he's an elite forward. He really is top-notch. I'd be surprised if he was under 9 million. He'd probably be 9.5-ish would be my guess. If he's under 9 million, he's in my team.
Yeah. I'm a Chelsea supporter. I like the prospect of Werner coming. Certainly, if it's sort of talking about a day one punt, you'd probably be looking at sticking Werner in there, depending on, as long as they're not playing United again or City. And you'd probably think give him straight in there. But he might come in at about 9.5. Nice and affordable, and turn out to be a real gem.
He didn't even mention Bruno there, John, either, in your essential players.
Yeah, Bruno's probably been my list. I like you, John, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold's probably the best fantasy football player ever to own. He's just the perfect fantasy asset. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't upgrade him to a midfielder. They'll want 8 million for him as a defender minimum next year.
Yeah, this is
I'd still pay that. I'd probably pay 9.
What's the most expensive defender ever?
Wasn't it Leighton Baines? Wasn't he 8 million?
He was on
$7.5?
I think Ivanovic at one point was maybe
Ivanovic
7.5. Maybe I think Baines has been 7 or 7.5. But
I don't think we've ever had an 8 million. Never had an 8 million.
No, but I think
Trent could be 8 million.
I think Trent is going to be 8. If don't know, not 8.5, right? So he's had back-to-back seasons.
I'd like to buy that picture off you.
Yeah. That was a wee. That was a wee birthday present.
He's never left my side, and he never will. I just think he's the perfect fantasy asset. So
well, he is, and for the reason I have it is I'm not even a Liverpool fan. I'm kind of one of these sellouts that supports everyone who is in my team. But I grew up as a United fan. But in terms of my interest now is FPL. It's Football Index. It's Footstock. And he's the best on every single one of them. That's why he's there in the background, because I think it's quite fitting. But it's funny you're saying that about must-have players for next season. I just think there'll be so many. I think it's all going to be about price points and about, as you said, Rich, it's the enablers. Because Bruno could be must-have, as could Kevin De Bruyne, as could, pick a load like Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's players in these other clubs, and depending on how pre-season's going things and depending on price points, they could be considered essential.
Yeah.
There could always be a template very early in the season next year.
Yeah, but if they are the sort of prices we're talking about, you won't be able to afford Salah and you won't be able to afford Mane, and
this is it, and then this is where it's so key to find these players. I do think so. I like the look of Lamptey for Brighton. I think he could come in maybe next year at maybe 4.5. He's youngster. Looks a really, really good player. He reminds me of Wan-Bissaka when he started off the Palace. Looked really quick, really aggressive. But yeah,
so composed.
Yeah, definitely. He came on at half time yesterday, but I think they were protecting him a little bit because obviously playing against that United team is it's a tough old choice. Let us know in your chat, guys. Who are your 3 essential players? Who are the 3 you're having in your team without any shadow of a doubt? Let us know. John reckons that Rich is right. It's Baines. John, is that or you're guessing? I'm sure Ivanovic was, I want to say 7.5, maybe. But I'll. John,
I think
maybe right.
Baines. Baines used to take all the penalties for Everton, didn't he? And loads of crossed assists, and he came in at 7.5 one year. I think I've never seen an 8 there.
I tell you what we'll do next week. Next week's halftime quiz, just as we're about to move to halftime now. Next week's halftime quiz, we will do an FPL quiz next week. So it'll be all down to, it'll be all about FPL previous prices and points and stuff. So we'll do that next week.
That'll be interesting.
It'll be good. We're just coming up to halftime now in the game, so they've all just passed the 45-minute mark. Arsenal 2, Norwich 0. Aubameyang goal and assist for any captainers. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 2. Bournemouth look in trouble. And Everton 2, Leicester 0. So Leicester just seem to have gone off the boil. Not good for them. We'll wait for half time before we start the quiz. D-Raj's players: Bruno, TAA, and KDB. And I mean, it's really hard to argue with that. But how if you have those 3, how do you bring in Salah or Mane? Right? It's going to be so tough. There was a question earlier on, so I think we missed it, but it was around Pulisic. Rich, as a Chelsea fan, what are your thoughts on Pulisic?
Well, Pulisic is in my side this week. So my 2 transfers last week were Mane to Pulisic, and I can't remember who I sold for Aubameyang to Wood, who was injured for Burnley, to Aubameyang. So that set me up really nicely for this week because I'm obviously thinking I've still got a wild card, so I'm thinking about wild carding next week. But obviously he's a doubt to start tonight. I'm hearing rumours on Twitter that he may not even make the bench.
Okay.
So he is injury prone. That's the problem. He's a great player when he's fit and firing, and that's why I brought him in. Chelsea also has some really nice fixtures, so very keen on the team news in the next hour to see if he starts or is on the bench. If he plays, I'm tempted to keep him and not use my wild card because I think he's well set, he's on form, and a great value for 7 million right now.
Okay, so we're moving towards halftime then. It's definitely halftime ball with Newcastle. Martinez just saved a screamer, apparently, D-Rise says. Rich, I'm not sure if you've seen that yet, but D-Rise says that Martinez saved a screamer. We'll answer your question.
There's a free kick coming up from Norwich, 40 yards out. Yeah, very good save. Just come on screen now, just heading in top bin. Good save from Martinez.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like it's half-time in all the games. We will bring you the half-time bonus points in a bit. Rich, if you wouldn't mind, if you could bring up the bonus points in a bit. We'll do the quiz first, but if you could bring up the half-time bonus points, that would be good.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Don't forget, we'll bring you the team news for the West Ham-Chelsea game at 7:15. I've seen rumours as well that Pulisic hasn't quite made it. Seen rumours of Willian, Giroud and Mount front 3, I think, potentially, but we'll get that for sure at 7:15. All these fake in the nose on Twitter, you don't know who to believe and who not to believe at the moment. But that's it. Okay, just a reminder, don't forget to catch the FPL podcast by Fantasy Football Hub. We're currently recording on Thursday and Saturday evenings, getting them out with myself, Adam Hopcroft, one of the best players ever as well, and Andy Green, who finished 3rd overall in FPL last year, to make sure we get the information out to you in good time. So the deadline for next week is midweek, and then there's also one on Saturday again. So we'll be doing 2 podcasts a week to make sure we get all the information out to you on time. Will Thomas will also be recording his excellent videos throughout the week on YouTube as well, so keep an eye out for those. Remember to subscribe if you haven't, the red box in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and set alerts now so you don't miss anything. Also, if you play Sky Fantasy or Telegraph Fantasy, subscribe to the channel in the description below. And don't forget, on Sunday night we record a live Sky Fantasy podcast with former Sky winner Dan Cox. So Dan won the big prize a couple of years ago, and brilliant Sky manager Paul McNulty, who also finished 4th a couple of years ago as well. You won't want to miss that. The very best Sky managers join us. including plenty of players in the top 100, top 50, top 10, and even the player who's currently in second place joins us chasing the 50 grand prize. So halftime quiz, and I haven't told you the theme on purpose, gents, just in case you wanted to brush up. For those who are now in the chat, who will be looking to take part in the quiz, please don't put the answers in the chat for everyone else. Just keep a tally of your own score and let us know at the end. So the theme is World Cup. So this is a World Cup theme quiz. It's looking at it. I wouldn't say it's easy. I wouldn't say it's difficult. But I'm confident of a decent score again, Rich. And obviously we'll see how John does on debut. So question 1, please don't put the answers in the chat. Hello there, Gary. I'm here for the quiz, absolutely. So Gary, the quiz is World Cup themed. So please keep your scores, keep your answers for yourself for the time being until we have finished. So question 1, there have been 2 World Cup trophies. What was the name of the first? So that is question 1. What is the name of the first World Cup trophy? Is it a famous song by the Lightning Seeds, I believe, as well? That is question 1. Question 2. Which country won the first ever World Cup in 1930? That is question 2. Give me a nod when you're ready, guys. Yeah, yep. Well, you're both looking confident. Yep. You've both written your answers down there and looked at very, very confidently. I'll have to make him harder. I'm gonna have to make him harder.
I'm confident I'm gonna get like 1.
Mac, if it's okay, don't put the answers in the chat if that's all right, because we're just letting everyone have their own game, and we'll see the scores after.
Bloody Mac, he's just taking the shine off me actually knowing question 2. They're gonna think I copied.
Okay, question 3, which is a reasonably straightforward one as well, I think. Which country has won the most World Cups? That is question 3. Question 4. So this one may be a bit more difficult. Johan says, cheers, Mac. Great stuff. Question 4. 3 countries have won the World Cup twice. Can you name them? So 3 countries have won the World Cup twice. Can you name them? It goes a little bit more difficult now. Eased you in, see, John? Eased you in, see, John, with the earlier easier questions. This one's maybe a bit more difficult.
This is getting tough.
Mac, can you not put the answers in the chat, please? You are ruining it for everyone.
Mac, you idiot, go away, will you?
Come on, Mac. We don't want the answers in the chat, Mac. Please don't, because
I can't see the chat, so I'll be accused.
All right. Okay. Are you ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Question 5. That's okay, mate. That's fine, Matt. He just apologised. Question 5. Which country has appeared in 3 World Cup finals but has never won the competition? That is a good question. So which country has appeared in 3 World Cup finals but has never won the competition?
I actually don't mind if Mac puts the answers in the chat anymore. Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
No. Okay, another fairly difficult one, I think. I don't know this, actually. The 2026 World Cup will be hosted across 3 different countries. Can you name them? That is question 6. Point for each answer as well. So if there's more than one answer, you get a point for each answer. You ready to move on, gents?
Yeah.
Okay, question 7. Easy one, surely. In which World Cup did Diego Maradona score his infamous Hand of God goal? Question number 8. The record number of World Cup goals is 16. Scored by who? That is question 8.
Is that all time or one competition? Sure, that's one competition.
That's the golden boot winner, you mean?
No, it's all time, I think, isn't it?
Are you looking for a country or a player?
No, in which, player. So the record number of World Cup goals is 16, scored by who? So it's a player who has scored 16 goals in the World Cup. Yeah. In different World Cups in total. Yeah. There's one player.
Oh, a different World Cup.
Sorry, yeah. He's the World Cup top scorer.
Okay.
That is question 8. Question 9. 3 people have won the World Cup as a player and as a coach. Mario Zagallo, Didier Deschamps, and can you name the third? So won the World Cup as a player and a coach. Not easy. Just to answer Gary B's question, no, it's over multiple World Cups. So it's who's the top scorer ever? Who scored the most World Cup goals in any World Cup? I think it was broken. I want to say fairly recently, actually. Or someone got very, very close. I've got the answers underneath. I haven't read them yet.
Well, that's making me doubt my choice. I went a bit left field, look.
Well, I know someone came incredibly close, and it might even be this person, about, I want to say 8 or 12 years ago, something like that.
Okay, I'm going to stick with it.
Okay. And finally, question 10. So 2 English players have won the World Cup Golden Boot. Who are they? 2 English players have won the World Cup Golden Boot. So everyone on the chat, if you can keep the answers to yourself, can you add up your score? So I believe there's 2 on that one. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's 15 points available in total. So firstly, question 1. There have been 2 World Cup trophies. What was the name of the first? John, what's your answer to that one?
The World Championship of Champions.
I don't think that's right. You said that with such a deadpan face. That was fantastic. That was brilliant. Rich.
I think the answer is Jules Rimet, isn't it?
It is the Jules Rimet. And thank you, Gary, in the chat. Jules Rimet. It has got /victory. So I think it was Victory Trophy could have accepted as well. Question 2. Which country won the first ever World Cup in 1930? It did come up on the chat. It's actually still in the chat from Mac. John, do you want the glory?
Well, I actually had written Uruguay.
You did. Well done, mate. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Even shows his pad. I think it was held in Uruguay as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
Okay. Question 3. Which country has won the most World Cups? Rich, what's your answer to this one?
That's quite an easy one. That'll be Brazil.
It is Brazil. I think, I want to say 5 times, I believe.
5 times, yeah.
5 times, yeah. Okay. Question 4. 3 countries have won the World Cup twice. Can you name them? John, do you want to have a guess first?
These are proper punts.
No, it's all right. Go on.
Italy.
Yep.
Germany.
Okay.
Portugal.
0 out of 3, John. Good effort, though. Good effort. Thanks.
That wasn't a good effort. It was not a good effort.
Well, you named 3 countries anyway. So,
yeah.
Rich, do you want to have a punt on the 3 countries you've won it twice?
I think I've got a couple of these at least. France, Spain, Uruguay would be my 3.
France and Uruguay are correct. The third one is Argentina.
It's Argentina, is it? I thought Spain won it in 08.
Oh, look, he's written it out. Look, he's written it out and crossed it out, mate. That's not the worst.
Would have had one.
Damn it. Spain won 2 Euros, didn't they, and 1 World Cup, not the other way around.
Yes, they did, yeah. That's right. Question 5. Which countries appeared in 3 World Cup finals but never won the competition? Really good question, this. I didn't know this. Rich, go to you first.
Well, my guess would be Holland, Netherlands.
John, what was your answer?
Well, my answer I know is wrong now based on the last question. I was just thinking Messi, he just keeps going to finals and not winning. But then I know it's stupid. It's terrible. I'm too young for this.
No, it's good. It's good. The answer is the Netherlands. So well done, Rich. It was Holland. Yeah, the Netherlands will give you that one. And well done, Gary, in the chat as well. He said Holland as well. So question 6. The 2026 World Cup will be hosted across 3 different countries. Can you name them? John, have you got any idea about this one?
Are you giving me an easy one and I'm probably still going to butcher it? Is it Mexico, Canada, USA?
Mexico, Canada, and USA. Correct. Well done. Well done, John. Fantastic. 3 points there. You've climbed it. You've climbed back.
Somewhat of an egghead.
The same.
So, you had the same, Rich. You had the same as well. Good stuff. I didn't know that for some reason. I must have missed that amongst all the.
Well, I just thought I knew it was US and Mexico, and I thought it's got to be somewhere bordering that, right?
Yeah.
So I just went with the.
I actually find it surprising that the USA would share that.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair. I think well,
aren't they getting the Olympics as well or something? I think they get.
Right. Okay. Gary B, US, Mexico, Canada. Correct, Gary. Gary's on fire, so he's put up 3 answers and they've all been right. So well done, Gary B. Okay, question 8. The record number of World Cup goals is 16, scored by who? And I had this one right. I did have it right, and it's fairly recent. So,
have you missed a question out there?
Oh, I have missed a question out. Oh, bugger! I got so excited there. Look, in which World Cup did Maradona score his infamous hand of God goal? Rich.
It was Mexico 86.
Mexico 86. Yeah, that's right. And the next one, Gary B and Matthew have both got this one right. Who scored the most the most World Cup goals? Miroslav Klose. And you had that, Rich? Did you? Well done. About thumbs up.
Yeah.
John, you had that as
well. I got that, and I hit the post. I got 1990 for Insidia.
Wasn't it over about 4 or 5 World Cups as well? It was over loads. You played in
loads.
Yeah,
I think his last one may have been 2012. I want to say.
Yeah, he came on a Zimmer frame and got.
That's right. Yeah. You have missed a quiz, Abdullah. You have. It was a World Cup quiz, Abdullah, as well. You'd have really enjoyed it.
Here's a secret.
Here next week.
See if you scroll back like 10 minutes, if you could just pull it along the bottom.
Yeah, you're right there. Abdullah, if you've missed it, pull on the bottom. But obviously, come straight back in. Just so you know, Bournemouth, Newcastle have kicked off. If there's any goals, obviously we'll interrupt. We'll just finish off the quiz. Gary B, he took the record off Ronaldo, I think. Yes, he did. I think there was 2 on 15, unless Klose was one of the 2 was on 15. But anyway, he's very close. Question 9. So 3 players have won the World Cup. 3 people have won the World Cup as a player and as a coach. Mario Zagallo, Didier Deschamps, and the 3rd difficult one. Rich has got a big grin on his face.
No, it's not. It's
wind, is it? It's wind, is it, Rich? Okay, let's have your guess, Rich.
Franz Beckenbauer, guess.
John, what about you? Any thoughts?
Nope.
The answer is Franz Beckenbauer. Rich is doing the do, same as
this guy,
same as last week. He knows his stuff. And finally, this one should be, I think, let's say reasonably easy. I think so. The last one, question 10. 2 English players have won the World Cup Golden Boot. Who are they? John,
Ian and Lineker.
Ian.
Keane?
Oh, sorry, it was your accent. I thought,
the accent.
Ian.
I thought you said Keane.
It was Kane. Kane and Lineker. Gary B had it right in the chat as well. I'm sure you had that right, Rich.
Yeah, Kane and Lineker. Yeah,
well done. Add up your scores, gents. Rich, you're not far off.
I think the only one I didn't get was Spain winning the World Cup twice. 14.
In the chat, let us know your scores of how you did in the quiz, gents. Abdullah, rewind back and do the quiz for yourself. Really good quiz. World Cup theme this week. Next week, everyone swat up because it will be FPL related. We'll be talking points, prices over the last 4 or 5 years. So that will be that'll be a very good one. D-Rise says, can someone please tell Calvert-Lewin that Project Restart began 2 weeks ago? Absolutely. Seems to have been a bit quiet. Gary B had 13 out of 15 in the quiz. Very impressive, Gary. Well done. Thanks for joining us for the quiz. Let us know who else your scores, guys. Not everyone else is as good as Rich.
Do you want the bonuses at half time, Andy?
Please, yes, Rich. Yeah.
I'm going to run to the toilet while you're doing that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Just very, very quickly then. I know we've kicked off, but at the moment, Aubameyang is leading the bonus on 42, well ahead of Xhaka on 22, Ceballos on 21. Those are the Arsenal Norwich bonuses. Moving down to Bournemouth, Newcastle, not surprisingly, Gale is on 27, just ahead of St. Maxima on 26, and Longstaff, the other scorer, is on 21. So Newcastle bossing the bonus. And in the Everton game, Sigurdsson on 21, Richarlison on 20, and then it's a tie between Dean and Chilwell on 15 each. So a little bit tighter in that game bonus. There you go.
Not sure we've had any subs at half time. We will check to see if there's been any subs at half time.
Yeah, I'll check with you.
That'll be good. Okay, hope you all enjoyed the quiz. Next week, for any hardcore FPL players, we will do an FPL quiz. So it'll be prices and points for the last 5. That's going to be much, much harder. So Rich has, in the last 2 quizzes, has got 8 out of 10 and 14 out of 15. That's 3 questions from out of 25. That is absolutely ridiculous. Matthew Dredge just said billing off. I'm surprised at that because he looked really good player. Billing, like, you know, through this season. So I don't know if he had a knock or wherever else, but he looks a good youngster, Billing. But maybe not from an FPL perspective as such, because he sits a bit deep, but he looks like a nice player. Okay, so any questions in the chat, please, if you've got any questions for Rich or for John. When John comes back from the loo, we're going to ask him a bit about his podcast he does. So he's a massive Footstock and Football Index player, very popular in those communities. So we will ask John for a bit of an update on that. If you've got any questions for Rich, please let us know. One question, which is really interesting, this one actually, I've never seen such wide open captaincies, you know, kind of week after week for a while now. Who's your captain for the weekend, Rich?
This coming weekend, do you know what, Andrew? I haven't even looked at it. That is the honest truth. I've been so focused on these games for tonight and tomorrow because of how they're going to shape whether I wildcard or not. I can't even think what my team's going to be.
Okay.
I think I can't. You know, thinking ahead just into next week, obviously, Salah against Aston Villa at home is clearly a standout option, but there's always the chance he could get rotated. So I'll be hoping that he gets an hour tomorrow against City and then taken off. If he plays 90 minutes, I'd be worried that he might not start the game. So,
agree.
You know, that's the only thing. But yeah, if I had to pick now, it'd be Salah.
So you've got, you've also got Man City are away to Southampton. So Southampton not very good at home. So they, you know, obvious options there. De Bruyne, etc. Man United are home to Bournemouth. So Bournemouth, who are losing home to Newcastle, they're going to have to come up against Rashford, Martial, Bruno, etc., etc. Really good fixture there. We've mentioned Liverpool, Chelsea home to Watford as well. So Watford haven't looked good. So I'm not sure. We'll get the team news in a little bit for Chelsea. We're hearing that Pulisic may be out, but we'll hear that at 1:15. But Chelsea have got that nice fixture there as well. So we've got Everton, Wolves, Arsenal. So there's a lot of options again there. Just some questions quickly then. So Gary B, DCL replacements under 7.5. I personally just be a bit careful, Gary, was moving Calvert-Lewin, only because Everton's fixtures, they got Spurs next, but then they've got a really nice run. So they've got 3 home games in 5 then of Southampton, Villa and Bournemouth. So maybe just be a bit careful. I think that the Calvert-Lewin, for his price, could still offer some really good value. I just think he's been maybe a bit unfortunate in the last few games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hanging on to Calvert-Lewin. Oh, well done.
Oh, there's been a goal
for Leicester.
Goal for Leicester. There has been a goal for Leicester. Wipes out the Everton clean sheet.
It does, unfortunately.
Yay, I'm happy that it wipes out the Everton clean sheet because I've no Everton. It's Kelechi Iheanacho.
Iheanacho.
While we were doing our quiz, missed any changes, but at half time he must have come on.
Wow.
I'll check
that.
Came
on for Harvey Barnes actually.
Oh wow, yeah. Harvey Barnes off at half time. He seems to fall off a cliff a little bit. Harvey Barnes, hasn't he, since the restart? Had really high hopes for him.
And your friend Madison's come on for Dennis Pratt.
Okay.
Oh, Madison. It's good to see he shook that injury anyway. Such a promising player. He'd probably be looking for a transfer, you'd imagine, unless they maintain that sort of Champions League spot.
It looks like a Tielemans assist. Diraj, the man on fire, says it's Tielemans assist, and he hasn't been wrong. Oh no, he was wrong on the Everton first goal, I think, when he went through the whole team. But other than that, Diraj been banging. Oh, Mac saying no assist now. So
I'm watching it now. Tielemans looks to put a ball in. Everton defender kind of makes it. Holgate makes a bit of a hames of it, but Vardy makes it tough for him. There's Tielemans cross. Richarlison might have got something on that. Vardy might get that assist in the end, I'm not sure if it was his or Holgate. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so Holgate kicks it into Iheanacho's face, and he faces it into the goal. He doesn't even head
that might be a Holgate assist.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll do.
It looks...
I'll take a Holgate assist. That's perfect.
In the normal sized replay, it looked like Iheanacho got like a foot to it or something, but no, it was kicked into right into his snout.
Sorry to upset you there, Rich, but it's for a Leicester. Oh, sorry. I thought you said Wolves. I thought you said a Wolves goal. Sorry, there, John. I'm really
oh no, sorry. It's the accent. Do you know?
Good stuff. Okay. It's a Leicester goal, Rich. So
of course, yes.
Sadly, he hasn't got the assist, and his clean sheet's been wiped out. But other than that, a fantastic minute or two.
Maybe they'll work out a way of taking more points away from him.
No assist now, and I have to try and spell Iheanacho in the. That looks all right, I think. Cool.
Good luck.
I think that looks all right there. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so Diraj, he's asking us again. So he's asked us 3 times now, and we haven't answered. We need to answer this. Liverpool assets for someone like me who doesn't own any. Who to go for? John, what are your thoughts on Liverpool assets at this time?
The only one I have is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I don't have Mane or Salah or even Firmino or whoever else you might think of further up the pitch. I think it's just tough. I mean, their price is so... It's astronomical. 12.5 million-ish, is it? I don't have them in front of me. But
roughly, yeah.
When you've got such premium players who are performing so well, like Bruno, and what's Bruno sitting at there? 8.8.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a few kind of high-performing midfielders at nice price points. Martial, you've Son there. I mean, maybe you don't like Spurs or they're running, but I mean, Son's in there, and I mean, compared to the price difference, he's only 9.8. You're saving 2.5 mil. I'm just finding it hard to fit in Mane or Salah because you never know how they're going to treat the rest of the season. They might go for a records point total. They might go for golden boots and stuff, but I don't know. I'm finding it hard to justify.
How are you, Rich? Have you got any Liverpool in your team at the moment?
I did have. Well, I started the week with Mane and Salah, and that combination has done very well for me, holding them up to the Palace game last week. That was actually my revert team after the free hit, so they did very well for me. Got me 45 points last week between the three of them, and I reluctantly sold Mane this week because I did think it was too much. At the moment, I'm going to hold on to Salah. I just think he's going to play most games. He's hungry for the golden boot. And the Liverpool's fixtures for the next 2 or 3 are just too good to resist. If he starts to get dropped, then obviously that's a lot of money to have on the bench. But maybe they're a hold, don't sell at the moment. Rather
being
than
a goal. Apologies for interrupting, Rich. Goal. Newcastle look like they may have a 3rd goal. So they are putting Bournemouth to the sword at the moment. Newcastle. We will wait to hear if that's been confirmed, but it's popped up as 3-0. Liverpool's next 3: home to Villa, away to Brighton, home to Burnley. We'll finish off on that question now once we've wrapped up about the Newcastle goal, just to see if that is indeed a goal. We haven't had a VAR.
It's Almiron.
Almiron. So he's come on as a sub as well, hasn't he? Because he was on the bench at the start, so he has come on. They are looking. Newcastle have turned a corner, haven't they? Wow, they were they
were looking like they were going to go down.
A hat trick of San Maximam assists.
That's not, is it?
Matthew Gantry better not be fucking about with me.
Another tame pass for the assist. He won't. I don't think John will care if it was tame or if it was a 50-yard pearler. It's three assists.
Is he part of your footstock stable as well, John?
Wow.
I actually don't really have him on there. I think I've got one. Unfortunately, could be time for that to change.
Wow. So he looks a hell of a player, San Maximam. Well done, John. You're on fire today. John Tyner's back. Thank you, John. Great to have you back. And thank you, Matthew, and everyone else for the goal updates. So 3-0. Oh, D-Rod says Pulisic plays. We have got the lineups.
Oh, he does.
The lineups for the Chelsea games. He does. Wow. Quite surprised at that, but good news for Pulisic.
Well, at the moment, I'm looking at a Lascelles clean sheet on the bench, but I'm quite happy Pulisic is starting.
Okay, so
hang on to my wild card, I think.
Rich, are you able to get us the lineups for the Chelsea?
I will. Yeah, I'll have a look. Absolutely. Just give me a second. It's out. Yeah.
While you're doing that, Richarlison's been on the ground for quite a while here. Now, I don't know if this is just what happens whenever teams are 2-1 up, but it was a nasty enough challenge from Ndidi.
Oh, really?
Who I think picked up his 5th yellow card of the season. Am I right in saying that's a suspension?
No, it's not. No,
it's not.
Maybe
is it
10
yellows? Is it?
It's 15 now.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, then I'm way off. Richarlison looks to be getting back to his feet, hobbling a bit. You never know. He could be bluffing us all, but Indeed, actually, here's a wee stat for you. Of all the top 5 leagues in Europe, people are waiting for team news and I'm here spouting on, but guys, you're just going to have to wait. France, Italy, Germany, Spain and England, those top flight leagues in Europe. Indeed, he actually has the second best tackles per 90 stats. He's 3.84 tackles per 90. Wow. So he really is an elite defensive mid. And guess who he's behind? Can you guess?
In the 5 top leagues?
Yeah. I'm only talking players that have played over 20 games. You get these weird anomalies who've played 3 games and stuff, but it's a teammate, Ricardo Pereira.
Never, really? Wow.
Yeah,
I'm very
Pereira
surprised.
And Ndidi, the 2 most tackles per 90 in Europe. Having both them in your team, that maybe shows why Leicester did so well.
Yeah, for the first half of the season, for sure.
Mm.
Got the teams for you, Andrew, if you want them.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
Okay, so Chelsea, Kepa in goal, Alonso, Christensen, Rudiger and Azpilicueta. Ross Barkley keeps his place in midfield with Kante and Kovacic coming in. Pulisic, Abraham and Willian up front. So pretty strong. I'd say that is close to a full strength Chelsea side.
That looks good.
Tonight.
Like Abraham.
West Ham, Fabianski in goal, Fredericks, Diop, Ogbonna and Cresswell at the back. Declan Rice playing just in front of them. Jared Bowen, Lanzini, Soucek and Pablo Fornells in the upper midfield. And then Antonio keeps his place up front. So they're still missing their strikers, aren't they, West Ham? But, so Antonio up front again for West Ham.
Yeah. Okay. So Pulisic plays. So after all
players,
because there was definitely a concern to knock Alonso as well. Well, it looks like he's playing in a back 4, but he finished before the restart. Rich, I remember we commentated on here, didn't we? And at the start we said Alonso seems to be doing really well. Is he an option? And off the back of that, he scored 2 goals in 1 game. He's
I love Alonso. I love Alonso. If I was, him, Doherty and Trent are probably the strongest back 3 you could have, really.
Yeah.
It could be shout for a penalty for Norwich. No, Cantwell was brought down in the box. VAR might have a look at this. They are having a look at it. Could be a penalty for Norwich. Get back to you.
As we stand, Saint Maximin with an effective ownership of 2.83%, of which John is on 13 points, 13 FPL points. Very, very nice for you there, John. I think Aubameyang, not sure he's made it past the 60-minute mark. So 60-minute mark has gone now in Arsenal. I'm only hoping because of Captain Aubameyang that he's made it past 60 with his
got another point.
Gets his 2 points. Well, it's a double point in it for us. So.
It is, mate.
That would be nice. We would take that. So no more goals then. So Arsenal 2, Norwich 0, Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 3, and Everton 2, Leicester 1. We did have a couple of questions actually, which we didn't answer in the chat. There was a SAR question. Let's see if I can just find a couple of questions that we didn't answer earlier. Gary B, SAR replacements under 7 million. Rich, off the top of your head, any thoughts on any midfielders under 7
under
million?
7, well, if you stretch to 7, Pulisic, obviously, he is exactly 7. Yeah. Under that, struggling to think of anybody who comes to mind in that. On Mount, maybe 6.3, something like that. Another Chelsea player, but he's not playing tonight, Mount, is he? So yeah, no, struggling. 7 to 8 million, loads of choice, isn't there? But that sort of 5.7 to 7 million is a bit more of a barren field at the moment, isn't it?
Maybe Traore.
I
know he's not getting full games, but
starting, is he?
If he could get a game, what an explosive player.
Yeah.
Who else have you got down there? Ward-Prowse, is he doing much these days? I know he had a good, Southampton had a good game recently, and last week he got 9 points with the goal, but it's tough.
Yeah, to answer the question, I'd probably say try and find a 0.1 from somewhere and get Pulisic for 7 before he goes up, especially now he's fit and playing. So
I agree, and they've got their home to Watford on the weekend, and they're fixing nice again. They've got Palace, Sheffield United. They're home to Norwich. We're already seeing what Arsenal, who haven't been that good, look very comfortable against Norwich. They've then got they then finished Liverpool and Wolves. Not the best finish, but they're 4 games up until then. Very, very nice indeed. An oof from John, a big oof.
No, it's a delayed oof. People at home are like, "Jesus, guys, are catching this now?" But I got it through. The Sky Go. A Pickford absolute hames nearly led to a Keane own goal, but he made like 3/4 of the ball over the line, goal line clearance job. I can't really tell who to cross in from. Maybe all Brighton. I can't actually tell. But Pickford absolutely made an hames of it and nearly set up his teammate for an own goal. But they're safe.
Okay.
And Maddison just blazed one over the bar too. So, bit going on here, but Leicester are by no means out of this game.
Okay, sounds like a very good game there. Rich, have we had any more excitement at the Emirates?
No, the VAR came back with a no penalty for the Cantwell challenge. There's been another couple of Norwich attacks. Norwich haven't given up; they're giving it a go, but nothing much to report other than the penalty incident.
We're just waiting for Aubameyang to score his second of the game.
Yeah, there's probably if they keep pushing up, obviously it'll leave some more gaps. And we're getting into that last half an hour now where the weekend is going to start to tell on them because they're all playing again after playing 120 minutes against United. So.
And Arsenal are very likely to bring on players like Nketiah, Saka, and all these really, really quick youngsters. Exactly. So it's going to be interesting. We have a question from Lewis Coles. He asks, Calvert-Lewin to Greenwood to free up cash for another move. So we kind of mentioned about Calvert-Lewin earlier that I think he's probably a decent hold, but Calvert-Lewin to Greenwood actually is probably, if you're not holding for United already, that does free up a couple million. And Greenwood's fixtures, he looks very good. They got Bournemouth.
Yeah,
the next 3 Bournemouth.
I think a 3-5-2 is very viable for the running. Yeah. Pick your 2 strikers. So if you want to have an Nketiah or a Greenwood, you don't mind benching, and also you don't mind missing a game. Your problem with them is they're also prone to getting 1 point. Be brought on for 20 minutes, half an hour, and they'll often get you 1 point. So as long as you know that's a possibility, then as an enabler, they're fine.
I think that the Calvert-Lewin to Greenwood is probably a decent move. I wouldn't advocate Rashford to Greenwood because all you're doing there are chasing last week's point, right? So Rashford had 2 assists the game before. Nearly had a penalty, I think, the game before that as well. He had the ball in his hands and it got overturned. So, but yeah, that looks good.
Sorry, just to butt in, unless you were about to. Pickford here looks like he's honestly like a schoolboy. It looks like he's about to just throw the game away. He made another absolute clanger from across in there, tried to punch the ball out. punched it back into his own box. I think it was Iheanacho nearly. If Iheanacho had took a decent touch, I think he took an okay touch. If his shot he absolutely made a dick of the half volley and skied over the bar. But if he'd have just tapped it in, it would have been 2 each here very quickly. And Pickford has had 2 howlers within about 4 minutes.
Really? Wow. Sounds like a good game there. Sounds like Leicester are putting up a bit of a fight. It's been an Arsenal goal. There's been another Arsenal goal. A third goal for Arsenal. This could be the moment, Rich. This could be the moment that
sends us coming into place.
We wait.
Martinez has been booked. I know that. So that's one away if you've got him any goals.
We wait to hear who has scored this Arsenal third goal with bated breath. It's very Aubameyang.
It is
Aubameyang. He's going forward now. He's on the edge of the area. He's looking for some help. Lacazette has it. It's come out. It's coming out now. Oh no, it must be coming after.
It is Aubameyang. It is
Aubameyang.
I'm way behind on this stream.
I was
close. He's come up on my phone now. Nowhere near coming on my TV.
Oh my goodness! What?
We're going to have to make sure that we're watching,
live games. What?
Upgrade my subscription.
Wow! And
fantastic,
Rich,
though. I don't mind it being late. I'm already celebrating.
Wow, Rich. So that's what's that so far? 60. I want to say 16 points so far with the bonus.
Yeah,
32-point captain.
That's outrageous. Fair play to you.
That is outrageous. And Rich, is this right? So those who don't listen to our podcast, Rich listened to our podcast on Monday night, and I believe we persuaded you, Rich, to buy Aubameyang captaining. Was that right?
Yeah, I mean, I was in 2 minds to do it because of the wild card. I was thinking I'd had him on my free hit, and he'd done nothing in that opening week. Obviously, got rid of him when my team reverted in 31.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, well, I don't want any Arsenal players. They just lost 2 games. They're playing rubbish, and I just saw that this week I could bring him in because I had an injured forward and I needed to get rid of him. I just saw there's an opportunity for a 1 week pump on this game. And it looked the obvious move to make. And also, while everybody else was dumping him, it's just the ultimate differential, isn't it? So yeah, and thank you to the Hub weekly podcast for helping me make my mind up. So absolutely, use the information of my colleagues.
Absolutely.
I'll be honest, I haven't listened yet, but it'll be getting a listen this week for sure.
Flipping heck, John, you need to get on.
I know. I'm opening up there.
There's some really, really good information on there. So, any news on assist? It hasn't been updated yet on FPL, I don't believe. But has anyone?
I think it might have been. It might have been Willock or Maitland-Niles, one of them.
Okay.
Give us a second.
Throw-in, easy pass. No one was marking him at all. It came from a throw-in, so
it's not on flash scores either.
It's not, is it? Okay. Okay, so 2 goals and an assist for Aubameyang puts him, I believe, on 16 points.
Back in the golden boot race as well, isn't he? Which means he's not going to want another rest.
No, exactly. This was a factor we talked about as well. So I think now, I believe he might be joint top with, I believe.
Vardy, is it, on 19?
Vardy's on 19. I think he might be joint top with Vardy now. So they're both on 19. I'm not sure what Ings was on. I think Ings was right up there as well. He might be on 17, 18 or 19 as well. But fantastic stuff.
Drinks break at Arsenal now.
Break. And Andy Green comes into the chat. So Andy is the he is on the FPL podcast with us. So Andy Green finished 3rd overall in the whole of FPL last season. Happy with the captaincy pick. Andy, I will be sleeping very well tonight. As will Rich.
Thanks, Andy.
Andy captained him as well. So Andy's, I think, Andy's of the notion that these kind of opportunities don't come along very often where they all aligned and just do it right. So, and I think now this actually helps me with my next week's move. So I was a bit unsure on whether to take a hit or not to get Aubameyang actually out and get in Pulisic, and this sort of thing. But I think now. And Andy's going over to Kane. I think I might go over to Ings and upgrade a midfielder potentially for a hit. But you don't mind taking a hit when you get a 32-point captain, do you? So do you know what I might do?
You know what I might do now? I know it's easy to say, Andrew. I might just keep Aubameyang.
Yeah,
because no one else has got him.
They haven't.
Just think about that. Think about that for a second, right? You've got one of the best strikers in the world, undoubtedly, and no one else has got him.
I just don't like his fixtures.
Going to be Arsenal's. Yeah, I know.
That's the only problem.
The third win in a row. Yeah, he could score against Wolves. I know that they've got a good defence, but imagine if he scores a couple against Wolves.
Well, you see, you're talking to me about going to Ings from Aubameyang, and I mean, if you're talking about fixtures, you've got Man City, Everton, and Man United.
Ings is a lot less than Aubameyang, and
I know there's an enabling.
It's more around upgrading defender, right? So I can move up. I can move on a cheap midfielder up to Pulisic or wherever else, but we will see.
Well, I mean, I could do something completely different next. I could do something like buy a second keeper and bench boost or something. Just ridiculously different like that.
That is exactly what I was going to do this weekend, and that's the reason I'm getting a decent player or two. Bench boost is the only one I got left. You look now, right? So all these teams now have played 4 or 5 games on the bounce, right? They've all played, 4 or 5 games in 2.5 weeks, or whatever it is. They're not going to keep on doing it. I think the value of bench boost is actually, I'm not sure there's a lot of it left. Because what we'll find soon is going to be very.
No, I'm
very
struggling to. I'm looking ahead and trying to find a week when I can use it. And I put my bench and all my players have got a really good game this next weekend. So I've just got no second keeper. So I've got enough money to get Martinez or even a 4.5 in, and just hit the bench boost and keep Aubameyang for another week. Why not?
I think I'm the same, but I'll be taking out Aubameyang because he's
I probably will,
but we'll see. But he goes to the top of the game week scoring chart, so he is on 16 points, 32 points for captainers. Congratulations to everyone else. We are very in a self-congratulatory mood here this evening. It doesn't happen very often. Christopher Tellez was going to take Aubameyang out, but he's not sure either, so that is interesting. So that would never really cross my mind. He'd be hungry for the golden boot. I don't think we can ever underestimate actually this whole thing of the golden boot. So he finished on 22 last year. He finished joint top scorer last year with Salah and Mane. So maybe right. Andy Green asks John, how many Orbers do you own in footstock?
Oh, let me just check. Give me a second.
I think I've got 4. I was looking to sell actually, but
I've got 4. I've got 4
as well.
I think the thing with him is the risk is obviously that transfers loom, and he's 31. You'd imagine he'd be looking for either trophies or a payday.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be holding my breath that he'd be there next season.
Yeah.
Does Andy play footstock as well?
He does. Yeah. We're in the chat all the time. I think he joined the same time as I did, kind of like April or May sort of thing. So, D-Raj, is Orba a buy? Seeing everything, I'm not sure. He's a buy personally. Purely because they have got Wolves next, so they're away to Wolves, which is going to be a very, very difficult contest. They then home to Leicester. They've then got Spurs. They've then got Liverpool. See, this is it. I think their last 2, they've got Villa and Watford last. It may be worth moving to Kane to 3 or 4 and then going back after. This is it. So, but yeah, John, just while we've got this short break without any goals, do you want to just
1 sec? I'll just take a break and I'll be right back.
Fine. Do you want to just give us a bit of an update on your podcast and what you do with those?
Oh yeah. So if anyone's listening and has, I suppose if you enjoy gambling and you enjoy football, and by no means am I trying to get you into gambling, but so I'm not trying to promote that. No. But if that happens to be what you're into, I have a podcast on Football Index, which is a trading platform with footballers. I'm not going to bore you with the details. If you have any questions, maybe message me directly. I think my Twitter handle is just above. But the other one, which is probably more suited, in my opinion, to FPL players, is Footstock, and that's probably shown by your interests and Andy there as well. I think he said if Aubameyang signs another contract, he'd double at least. So what Footstock kind of is, in a nutshell, it's kind of like FPL meets trading and stuff. So you can kind of bank on who you think will do well in the coming weeks or months. You can buy players on that platform and trade them, but there's also a huge FPL aspect to it. So if you fancy yourself as an FPL manager, you can go against the rest on it. It's a different scoring mechanism and matrix, but again, if anyone's any questions, by all means hit me up on Twitter or wherever. But it's something a bit different. I have podcasts on them both. But yeah, what do you think of them? Have you He's
There's
away,
been a
but
goal
I
at
just
Newcastle. I just
got that notification. Alan St. Maximin, please God, imagine that.
There's been a goal at Newcastle. They've got a 4th goal. We're just waiting to hear who the scorer is now, but Newcastle have scored a 4th goal. They have absolutely demolished Bournemouth.
Lazaro.
So I think he's come off the bench.
4 assists?
You're hoping now, mate. You'd be greedy. He must have come off surely now at 77 minutes. I'm not sure, but
he's put a shift in some Maximin, hasn't he?
4-0 to Newcastle. They've given Bournemouth a hiding, and Bournemouth are away to Man United on the weekend. Well, you dread to think how that might work out. Bournemouth, given the run around here, conceding 4 goals, they've got to go and try and beat United as well, right? That's the thing, because even draws are not much good for them at the moment. Rich, is Aubameyang still on the pitch on 77 minutes?
He is, yeah. No, Lacazette has just gone off. Bellerin for and Nketiah is now coming on. Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. Yeah, he's still on. 75 gone.
He's still on. Okay, and Nketiah's on the pitch, which is probably not good for Nketiah's owners.
1 pointer in case you were hoping for some bench points. Yeah, unfortunately for Nketiah owners.
Christopher Telles asks, Bruno Fernandes captain against Bournemouth. Well, I mean, we just kind of mentioned this at half time. It's when John went off for a little break. But John, have you thought of for your captain for the weekend? So Liverpool are home to Villa, and United at home to Bournemouth. I mean, take your pick.
What I've got here, I mean, provincially, now I haven't made my subs. I've got 3.7 in the bank, and I've got 2 subs this week. Sorry, transfers. I've got 2 transfers this week. And I just did this in passing. Do you know, in case something gets in the way in life and you forget or something happens, if I pass away this week, at least I'll have a fighting last chance. I've put Bruno as my captain. So that's the choice at the minute if I had to choose with what I have.
Yep.
But I've got 2 transfers to come and it's a significant budget, so that could change.
Okay. Yeah, I think at the moment it's so hard to look past the minute. I'm not massively keen on captaining a midfielder, apart from Salah and Manu, basically play as strikers anyway. Obviously, Bruno doesn't play as advanced as those, but I think in this case, the way he looked last night, he shoots from everywhere as well, doesn't he? He looked absolutely
he's a chancer,
he's
an absolute chancer.
He was brought off with like half an hour to go as well, so he's definitely going to play. Bournemouth just conceded 4 at home. Bruno's got.
Well, there are obviously what's happening is there are obviously some teams that are just whipping boys at the moment, like Norwich, Villa, Bournemouth. When any of those are gonna get beat 3-4.
Is it?
So it's take your pick. Liverpool will destroy Villa. I mean, they could rest the team and still. You've got to remember that there's so many teams to pick from next week. The fixtures are so good, which is why I'm still thinking about the bench boost, because there are just so many nice fixtures next week. But yeah, in terms of the captain, the thing I'm worried about with United is that sharing the goals around, right, from game to game. So it's difficult to pinpoint a captain. Your safer option is probably Salah. He'll get an hour against Villa, probably. Although, again, don't make your decision until you watch the Liverpool City match to see who gets rotated and rested.
I picked Maguire in lockdown, which seemed a really smart move at the time, but I think I'd much rather have the 3 United attackers. I have got Bruno and Rashford, but got Maguire, but I wouldn't mind having Martial. Agreement. 4th Arsenal goal, I believe. A 4th Arsenal goal. If Aubameyang is involved in this, it is absolute party time.
I think half the contributors league will just give it up right here if he gets a hat-trick, won't they?
There's been a 4th Arsenal goal. It is very, very exciting.
Lads, as happy as I am for you, as I kind of want it to be, like, not even Granit Xhaka. Is a Martinez goal too much to ask for?
Yeah. We wait. We wait to hear who the 4th scorer is. We're all holding our crossing.
I think it's going to come from a corner.
Cedric Suarez.
What, scored the goal?
Oh, is it? Cedric, is it? Okay.
Cedric. God, flipping it.
I'm over the moon with that. I'm not going to lie.
I bet you are. until you get the Aubameyang assist. Now look.
Unless Aubameyang trots over to take this corner, I don't think he's going to.
No. Probably Ceballos or something.
Ceballos is on the corner. Yeah, corner.
Let me know if Saka comes on. I'm kind of hoping at this stage he just stays sat on the bench.
Let me know if your Aubameyang nods it down for Cedric. That would be.
Is that too much to ask?
It's a 25-yard hit from outside the area off a defensive rebound, so possibly no assist
by the sound of it.
Yeah, and he smashed it in from about 25 yards into the bottom corner. Nice goal.
Cool, not greedy then, are we? Are we able to see who has come on for Arsenal actually? Because a lot of players are going to have, Saka, Nketiah. Have they used all their transfer yet, or most of their transfers?
They've only used two. They used four. They've got one left. So Holding is on for Mustafi, Willock is on for Nelson, and Nketiah is on for Lacazette, and Suarez is on for Bellerin.
Can't believe Aubameyang has played. Look, he might play 90. Oh, Ober off. D-Raz is just saying Ober off. I'm hoping that's not the case, but it may be. We may see it now. Andrew Armstrong, Arsenal made subs 3 times. Wait to see if Aubameyang comes off. How greedy is it that we're saying no, he can't come off and he gets 2 goals and an assist? But we've games like this.
Albrighton and Tielemans have just went off. Not that that'll really interest me.
Yeah, Pepe's come on for Aubameyang, so that's the end of our night there, Andrew. But,
he has come off, has he? That's a shame, but we can't.
Bank bonus. Nothing wrong with this.
Is Saka on the pitch? That's what I want to know.
No, he hasn't come on. No,
thank God.
You're going to get a substitute for
Brilliant.
That.
Well, I've got Kevin De Bruyne lined up. But in terms of Leicester, for anyone that cares, as I said, Tielemans and Albrighton are off. Between the two of them, they have an ownership on the FPL site of 4.1%. Between the two of them, that is. Oh. Perez has come on, which 1 in 20 of you have. And who was the other guy come on? Damari Gray, 0.3%. Not much that you care about, but just so you know.
Okay. 84 minutes gone now. So Aubameyang is off. Any owners, you tell the disappointment in our voice, but that's the way it is. So he's off on 84.
One of the key things, maybe, John, that might interest people is that Richarlison went off after 57 minutes, so did not get his extra point, and Davies came on for him. So
I wonder if that knock he had, John, kind of meant
that could have been the catalyst. I probably got distracted with some Maximin assists around that time. I think that's what happened. But I see he went off, which is obviously a shame for the decent percentage of managers that have him.
Yeah.
In terms of targeting teams, I mean, you only have to look at the two scorelines here tonight, with Arsenal 4, Norwich 0, Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 4. I mean, it is really hard, hard on these teams. They're just not getting a break. Other teams have got bigger squads. In terms of targeting teams, we've got Norwich, we've talked about Bournemouth. Is that a viable sort of tactic now? Rich, what are your thoughts on just targeting specific teams?
Yeah, absolutely, particularly for captaincy, and also for when you're looking at bringing in a player. Transfers are so valuable now, particularly if you don't have a free hit or a wild card left, that you want to make sure that the player you bring in has got maybe 2 out of, if you can find it, 2 out of Norwich, Villa, Bournemouth to play, in which case they are going to be worth much gold potentially, because I can't see these teams winning a match, unless they play each other.
Well, if you look at Bournemouth's next 4, right? So they're away to Man United, they're then home to Tottenham, they're then home to Leicester, they're then away to Man City. They are in real trouble, and they finish off with Southampton and Everton. They're in real trouble. Fionn, hello there, Fionn. Greenwood is my first sub in for Saka. If they've made their 5 subs and Saka stays on the bench,
that's a nice
then Fionn's getting a 12-point Greenwood off the bench. That is what I call winning. Congratulations if that is the case. Wow. 85 minutes gone. We are drawing to a close then soon. Arsenal 4, Norwich 0. For those who captained Ober, 2 goals and an assist for him, 16-pointer. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 4, Everton 2, Leicester 1. Question for Andrew Armstrong. Although teams can make a max of 5 subs, I don't they only have 3 opportunities. Arsenal have made 5 subs at 5 different times. I believe that I believe you're right there, Andrew. I thought that they could make the 5 transfers, but at only 3 different times. If that's the case, that is very strange.
According to this app I've got here, they did use them at different times, actually. One on 46 minutes, one on 58 minutes, one on 76, one on 77. So they may have been counted.
Yeah, they may have been close.
And then Aubameyang. So yeah, definitely 4 occasions that were far enough apart. So yeah, you might have a point there. They might have made an infringement.
Is there some sort of stipulation? This is me speculating completely. And if that's Andy Armstrong, I know. Hello, Andy, and let me know that it's you. But is there any weird thing about an injury or about a head injury, or that's an exception to that rule, or
possibly, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll take Aubameyang's goals away as a result.
Can you imagine? I think I would quit FPL if they did that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, Andy Armstrong says it is. He is your buddy there, John. So.
Dropped the cam, but that's my buddy Andy Armstrong.
It is your buddy Andy Armstrong,
yeah. Thanks for joining us, Andy.
So captain shout we kind of talked about a little bit. John, have you thought about who your captain's going to be? So you said Bruno. Let us know in the chat, guys, because I'm completely stuck. So I've got Salah, and I've got Bruno, and I've got Rashford. I'm just not sure how I'm going to be able to actually pick the captain this week. Let us know in the chat who you're thinking of captaining this week, and and some rationale as to why. Is it just because Bruno is just absolutely on fire? How can you not captain Salah against Villa? That is just it's really tough. So let us know. We're just coming up to 88 minutes in terms of a rank boost for all captains. And I know I mentioned this on the podcast. I mentioned it earlier. It's going to be interesting because you haven't got Aubameyang this week if you haven't captained him. So that kind of wherever his ownership is, that 24 or 25% ownership, they're likely to be the only people who've actually got him. I can see some big swings. James Harding back after cooking dinner. Saka never came on, so we'll take Richarlison points. I can't believe Saka hasn't come on. So we signed a new contract today. You would have thought, they would have paraded him with a couple of minutes to go.
Normally they get a new contract bounce, don't they? And they get a great performance and a goal and all that stuff.
I was going to say they would have brought him out for a parade in front of the fans. Obviously, there's no fans there, so maybe that's why they didn't do it. But we will see. No more goals to talk about yet. Still 4-0 Arsenal, 4-0 Newcastle. We're just about to go into the 90th minute there. Yeah, Richarlison, I think the only issue there, James, Richarlison may have gone off with a bit of a knock potentially. He didn't make 60 minutes, which is a bit of a shame because he's not going to get his extra point, but he obviously got the goal, so likely he will end up on 6 points potentially. So we'll see. I'm not sure if these averages have updated. The overall average, actually the top 10k average and the overall average seems quite low still. There are obviously a lot of players to play still, but the top 10k average is shown as 44.64, which looks quite low potentially, considering that Aubameyang has just got 32 by himself, and Bruno scored. Well, I say that, sorry, if you captained him, obviously. Bruno got 15 yesterday, 28 overall. So let us know in the chat if you're having a good week, because the overall average is 28. If you're scoring 40, 50, 60 points at this rate, we could be looking for massive swings. Let us know in the chat if you've had a good game week, what has gone right. Let us know what has gone wrong, guys. Let us know your dilemmas. We've got about 5 minutes left before the games finish. Looking forward actually to West Ham and Chelsea. I think Chelsea next year, we mentioned Everton, but Chelsea next year, they've got a good team now, right? A really good, strong young team, and they're bringing in Ziyech and Werner on top of having the team they've got now. John, what are your thoughts on Chelsea for next season? Do you think they can challenge for the league, or?
I think the league's pushing it, and I think the only reason I say that is to expect a team to come in and gel that quickly whenever you've got Ziyech and Werner coming in. But I think next season we're genuinely lining up to be a very, very exciting Premier League season.
Yeah.
You've got Chelsea with such ambition and transfers, and I mean, they might not even be done. United look resurgent. They look like United of old.
Yeah.
Liverpool are Liverpool. You've got Man City or Man City. I mean, there's nothing even needs said on them. Spurs have shown their intent with the size of their stadium. They've got some cracking players. They aren't playing amazing, it has to be said, but it wouldn't surprise me if they found some form. You've got Wolves there who are competing. They're playing really well. There's so many teams, and even like Everton, you're saying could have a good season next season, compete for top 6. I think the top 6 will be all to play for next year. Top of the league, I don't know. I think it might be more competitive than this season.
Yeah.
At least I'd like to think it will be. But would it surprise you if Liverpool got 100 points? No. You wouldn't bet against it, would you?
You're right. Right.
I think Liverpool will retain. I think they'll win it again. But City will run them closer than this year. That's but those two are still streets ahead of everyone else.
And it's going to be a very strange season as well, right? Because you've got this turnaround now. So obviously the league finishes the end of July. You then got the Champions League, which is going to go through August, and the kind of team that's been the date that's been mentioned for the restart is something like the middle of September. You think, normally now you've got the fixtures for kind of next season. FPL are going to have to relaunch their whole game again. You've got the transfer window to happen as well. In this meantime, you've got all football being played as well. It's going to be an absolutely crazy
I hadn't heard that actually, Andrew. But I'm actually quite glad, because I think my brain will be completely fried at the end of July, and actually to have a month
just to
off.
Say, Rich, I think you're gonna like this, but Bournemouth have scored very, very late on in the 90-something minute. So Lascelles clean sheet, if he's still on the pitch, I would ask.
Right.
Lascelles clean sheet.
They have scored. They've got a consolation that's going to wipe out Lascelles on my bench, so I may.
There you go.
Well, you see, I've got Fernandez on the pitch, so I'm more sickened than you, I think.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, he's there as a standby. He's my first bench Lascelles. But that's a...
So, Arsenal's finished 4-0. Everton, Leicester still playing 2-1. Newcastle 4 Bournemouth. Just to answer the last couple of questions before we go, we have asked around the captaincy. So, I think it was James maybe asked about the captaincy. Really, really tough. So I think we're on Bruno. Ake assist apparently for a Gosling goal. Think we're on Bruno, I think, but how can you not captain Salah or Mane at home to Villa? Incredibly tough one. I think on our FPL podcast we didn't really talk about the captaincy because we were talking about the kind of running and players to own, but Salah or Bruno, I think, are probably the two key options. It's going to be one of those incredibly tight.
Yeah. I would say if Salah plays 90 minutes against, so let's say Mane gets rested tomorrow and Salah plays, that might get reversed. Yeah. So just keep an eye on tomorrow's game, I'd say. Absolutely. Do you want the bonuses, Andrew? Do you think it's time to
let's have the bonuses before we finish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, Aubameyang's run away with it. It was 70 for Arsenal. Xhaka has 32, and then Bellerin sneaks in ahead of Ceballos for the 3rd point.
Yep, cool, yeah.
And then on the Bournemouth-Newcastle, it is your friend St Maximan, John, with 43 on the 3 bonus points. Dwight Gale takes it 31, and then John Joe Shelvey, who scored, I think, the 4th goal, or assisted for the 4th goal, gets 29. So Shelvey sneaks the 3rd bonus point. And then Leicester, which is still going on with a minute to go. I've got that game on the screen now. Iheanacho, it's really tight, the Everton game. Iheanacho is on 27. Gordon from Everton is on 26, and Sigurdsson on 25. But that could still change, obviously, because they're so close together. One yellow card or one tackle or clearance, and it could all change. So that's really tight, that one. There you go.
Good stuff. Thank you, Rich. Just some final comments. D-Raj, Leicester losing this makes the Champions League spot race a lot more interesting. Absolutely. So Chelsea and United hunting down that 4th place, could be hunting down the 3rd place as well. Last question from Boeing123. Martial and Greenwood, or Saint Maximum and Wan-Bissaka. Gotta be Marshall and Greenwood. Sorry, their fixtures are just too good. So like to thank Rich, like to thank John. Thank you so much, John, for coming on. Really good stuff. Really interesting stuff around, for Stock Football Index as well. Thank you to all the listeners who have stayed through and the watchers who have stayed through. Any feedback on anything, any feedback on how we can improve anything, greatly appreciated. Everton Leicester's going into the 97th minute, which is strange. It must have been that Richarlison issue we kind of mentioned earlier. Yeah. Again, thank you everyone for watching and listening.
All over Everton have
all over.
Won.
Okay. We hope you enjoyed. We're all off to grab a beer and to go and watch West Ham and Chelsea. We'll be back next Wednesday. There are a further 3 6 p.m. games for Gameweek 33 plus. I believe one of them might be that Man City game. I want to say the Man City game, but there's 3 really good games next week, so we will have that covered. We're back at 10 to 6 to do it again. We hope you had a great FPL day. Best of luck in the game later. Best of luck tomorrow, and we will see you next week. Thanks again, all. Good night.